To remain updated with the latest business news, click on the bell icon.
Vibha, thank you so much for joining us and great to have you with us on business today. Earnings this time around, standalone net profit for the quarter up about 3.2%. We've got premium income also rising 27.79% year on year. Why is the profitability, however, this time on the slightly lower side vis-a-vis some of your previous quarters?
The right metric to look at is the value of new business, because that is that really encompasses all the value that is going to come through from the policies that we have written. That grew by 26%. Also, the Indian GAAP profits were impacted because of the excess mortality reserving that we did due to COVID claims. If you remember, in quarter one, we started off with 700 crores. We increased it further. We have continued to increase. We made a further 55 crores in quarter three, just as ample precaution in case Omicron rears its head in terms of elevated death claims. Not that we expect to, but just as ample precaution. So that has also impacted the profitability.
Okay. And what about, business momentum in the coming months? Do you expect it to sustain, improve?
We are very optimistic about it. We've seen great traction in quarter three, and we see that continuing in quarter four as well. In quarter three, we had a growth of over 20%. Each of our channels did extremely well. Our agency channel grew by about 49%. Some of our newer bancassurance partnership grew above 80%. Apart from the channels, even some of our, in terms of our segments, our protection segment grew by 20%. Our annuity segment grew by almost 26%. Credit Protect, which is covering loans, giving insurance coverage to loans, that grew over 70%. So it has been a holistic growth, a lot of fresh momentum in terms of business. Also, customers and partners are quite comfortable now in connecting digital or non-face-to-face. That was a little bit of a learning curve in quarter one. We are over that as well. So yes, all the building blocks are in place for a good finish.
Okay. What about claims in the first 9 months? How many have you honored? And when it comes to claims with a higher rise in Omicron infections, are they once again on the uptick?
On the Omicron, they are not. We're not seeing any elevated claims at all. But if we were to look at the Delta variant claims and what came into quarter three, very much the slide is fantastic, because in quarter three we paid rupee value of claims of about 17 crores. That's 17. To put things into perspective, in quarter two for COVID claims we had paid 300 plus crores of claims. In quarter one we had paid about 155 crores. So 155 crores went up to 300 crores, which went down to 17 crores. So that has been the kind of downward, very sharply decreasing trajectory, which we're very happy about on individual claims on COVID. And touch wood, we haven't seen any elevated claims as a result of Omicron.
Okay, fair enough. And margins, let's talk about that. Margins in the new business, what they're looking like, as well as individual term insurance, what demand is looking like on that front.
So we are fairly pleased with the continued upward trajectory on new business margins. So if you look at quarter three standalone margins, that inched up to 26.8%. And if you look at 9 months margins, we ended up at 26.5%. 9 months of last year, we were at 25.6%, and which translates to a growth in value of new business of 26%. So very holistic of top line growth of over 20% and VNB growth of 26%.
Okay. The product mix is concentrated also around traditional products. What's the percentage of ULIPs as of now?
So ULIPs are 20. We ended at 26%. So like I've said, that's a stated objective wherein ULIPs will hover close to about a fifth of our business. The traditional products, each of the segments, par and non-par, will be around a third of our business each, and rest will be split between protection and annuity.
All right. Exide Life has now also become a fully owned subsidiary as part of the overall merger process. How has the integration been working out so far?
The integration per se will come in after we get approval for the merger. Right now, it has become our subsidiary. So it's a wholly owned subsidiary. We have full control on the subsidiary, but the two entities will be run on a status quo basis. Yes, we have full oversight on it. The synergies which will come through integration will be after we get NCLT approval for the merger, which is perhaps 9 months to a year away.
All right. And, just if I take a step back for a moment, Vibha, in terms of the larger ecosystem, and with more players trying to enter the fray, online players, how do you see this really evolving, from a consumer standpoint, if I'm looking at the offerings out there and, of course, you're a very big player in the space, but given that we're seeing so much more traction in businesses wanting to get into insurance?
I see it as really the tip of the iceberg in terms of the opportunity. If you triangulate that with several things, one is, of course, the protection gap. If you look at under penetration, if you even cut it into rural versus metros or smaller tier 2 and 3 towns versus penetration in metros, any which way, if you see, if you look at also in terms of annuity products and retirement products, which is the other end of the spectrum, with people outliving their retirement age by maybe 20 years and inflation still rearing its head, which means net of inflation, there's going to be severe erosion of savings of a senior citizen. So it's almost we're at at an inflection point. I think that people are beginning to realize that people are, at least in metros, are no longer asking, why do I need it? Which they used to ask maybe a couple of years ago. Now the questions have moved to what do I need and what is the right product for me and what is the amount that is right for me, with which kind of insurance can I sleep well at night, and those kind of questions. So there is an evolution that is happening and more will happen. It is moving into social media. Discussions are moving into social media, which is again a very good indication in terms of that and to dining tables wherein there are conversations that families are having. So I think that inflection point is absolutely there. And like we have seen in other economies, as our GDP grows and per capita GDP, you will find that when an average Indian has something that they're worried about losing, they will start looking at how do I protect those savings. So that is, we are at the cusp of that. And it's a very interesting time because that also leads to innovation about products, innovation about technology on platforms, on using of analytics, using of AI ML to figure out customer behavior. We do all of that. And really, it's, like I said, inflection point.
And exciting as well. Vibha, we've got the budget coming up, so can't let you go without asking any expectations this time around.
The industry specific expectations are slightly more longer term. One is on GST, wherein, especially on protection, for example, having a fully loaded 18% GST might be somewhat heavy, especially on a very nascent need that an average Indian is trying to fulfill. Another one is on annuity. That's a long pending ask because it's taxed twice. A senior citizen buys an annuity out of his post-tax income, and then he gets taxed again when he receives the annuity, and he gets taxed when he really needs money the most, which is in his golden or in her golden years. So not to have that double taxation of annuity. That's a second ask. ATC is very crowded. So if we really want to look at building long-term savings, retirement corpus, then some sort of a carve-out would help, because that ATC amount has not been increased for a very, very long time. So these are some of the asks that we have, and it will be great to see this in terms of long-term protection for the average Indian.
Wonderful. Vibha, thank you so much for your time. Great speaking with you today.
Likewise. Thank you. Take care.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.